Welcome to those who are being admitted right now. Excuse me. We'll just wait another minute so that everyone can get admitted. We have a lot of attendees who are being admitted. This is a very good sign.
Everybody that told me that they were going to attend is admitted. I'm seeing, wow.
We'll just wait a few more seconds to see if we have anyone else waiting to join us before we go over the ground rules for today.
Excuse me.
Donna, I just wanted to make sure everybody got the list, that they know that they have the list that they're going to be called upon. That got sent out in your email.
Donna and Judith, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you say William Brana Tremel? He is in the room as an attendee. Would you like him promoted to panelist?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Don't know what happened.
It's okay. Okay. I think we're ready to get started. Certainly want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I do need to announce that this forum is being recorded and it will be available for public review. And second, I need to announce that today our time is extremely limited. We wish we had a whole lot longer, but we don't. And so I am really just going to read this script to be sure that I say all the things that I need to say about ground rules within my allotted time. Our time purpose is really today. All right. I'm Donna Lochner, and I'm a resident of New Mexico House District 28 for 37 years now. And I'm delighted to continue volunteering to keep voters informed of issues and ideas in our district. To that end, today we have invited to our forum all the individuals who have applied to be appointed to fill the vacant seat for this district in the New Mexico House of Representatives. The Bernalillo County Commission will make this decision at their meeting just days from now. That's why we needed to organize this forum so quickly. We want to thank the Democratic Party of Bernalillo County for hosting the Zoom meeting, but we do want to stress that this forum is to inform all voters about all the candidates, and the forum is nonpartisan. We want ideas to be shared respectfully so that our democracy can succeed with informed voters. Here are the ground rules for today. Due to additional candidates coming forward yesterday, we now have 8 candidates participating. This is fantastic that we have such a large number of people willing to provide public service to our district. But with that number of individuals in a forum, time management is going to be critical. We will have opening statements from each candidate, 2 minutes each. There will be 2 questions. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer each question. And then there will be closing statements of 2 minutes from each candidate. When we have finished, Commissioner Charlene Piscotti, Chair of the Bernalillo County Commission, will provide some information about the process the County Commission is using to fill this vacancy. Judith Minks will be the timekeeper and will be showing signs when the respondent has 20 seconds left and when time is up. And when time is up, time is up. The order for responses was randomized beforehand, and candidates were informed in advance of the order that they would be answering. We recognize that 1 hour is barely enough time to introduce each candidate. So we hope you feel free to follow up with candidates if you have questions for each of them. Yeah, we know we would have loved to have more time for you to ask questions during this, but just not possible. Next, if you're registered to vote in House District 28, please contact the Bernalillo County Commissioners if you'd like to express your support for any candidate. The commissioners want to know who the people in HD28 want as their representative. Commissioner Piscotti will have more words to say about this at the close of our meeting. Now, let me introduce each candidate in alphabetical order. They are William Bowen Trammell, Bunny Wells Cruz, Pamela Herndon, Idalia Lechuga Tena, Marcy May, Michelle Peacock, Matt Powell, and Tom Stahl. With that, I think we're ready to start. Timekeeper, are you ready for opening statements of 2 minutes each?
Yes.
All right, our first speaker will be Michelle Peacock.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michelle Peacock, and I'm a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan and a nurse practitioner. I grew up in House District 28. As a teenager, I lived with and cared for my grandparents who lived in this district until they passed away. After graduating from Manzano High School, I joined the Army as a frontline trauma nurse. Between tours, I bought my first home here, and after completing my service, I returned home to raise my family in this district. I've had the opportunity to experience many things in my life. In the military, I deployed to Hurricane Katrina, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And while the primary mission of those deployments was the health and welfare of soldiers, I've always extended my service through outreach in the community. During Hurricane Katrina, I helped clean up the community and built a field hospital for LSU. In Iraq, I taught Iraq families about tuberculosis and diabetes and nursing classes. In Afghanistan, I helped build 2 forward surgical teams and treated the most significant number of trauma patients in Afghanistan in 2009. But I still helped build a women's clinic to provide comprehensive health care and taught at a women's conference. It was my experiences in Afghanistan that helped me make some life decisions and project me on a path of further advocacy and work for others. I returned home to become a nurse practitioner at UNM. I joined the board of Cuidando los Niños and then became board president. Cuidando los Niños is a long-standing community organization that strives to help children and families who are experiencing homelessness. I've also served on the DWI Council and the New Mexico Nurse Practitioner Council as board president. I'm a hard worker, and I've dedicated my career to serving veterans and my community with a focus on physical and mental health care. As a mom and a veteran and a nurse practitioner, I hope I have the opportunity to serve House District 28.
Thank you, Michelle. Perfect timing. Now we'll move on and hear from Tom Stahl. Unmute yourself, Tom. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to address you in this forum this afternoon. The host of this event has been kind enough to pass my resume for your review. Those are my accomplishments over my professional career. I feel blessed to have had the opportunities that I've had throughout those years. It was an honor to lead other devoted military professionals throughout my 33 years in the military. And it was a humbling managing experience to manage over $2 billion in budgets. The many volunteer organizations I have supported through the years were done not as a sense of obligation, but because it was the right thing to do. However, my resume does not tell who I am. I'm a man of faith. I am a husband. I have been married to my wife, Diana, for 44 years. I am a father. I have 2 sons who are both veterans of active duty military service. And I am a grandfather of a 4-year-old boy. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about the issue at hand. The whole process of selecting an individual to fill the remaining term, in the end, is about you, the good people of House District 28. The bottom line to this selection process should not be about party, popularity, or any other criteria, but who will best represent the constituents of District 28, period. I believe I am the right candidate to represent you in the State House of Representatives. This forum is an excellent vetting process for that determination. I would be honored to be your next representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And our next speaker will be Pamela Herndon.
Good afternoon. I'm Pamela Herndon. I have lived in House District 28 for 30 years. My husband and I have raised our children in the district, and we have been a part of the growth and changing in the district over the years. 2.5 years ago, when Melanie Stansberry decided to run for the open seat in House District 28, I was there beside her, knocking on doors, making phone calls, and sending postcards to get the people to vote for her. We talked to the people of House District 28 to understand what they wanted and needed from their representative. When my husband and I walk a mile in our neighborhood, we speak to the people to see what it is that they need, and we listen to their concerns. I want House District 28 to be the safe, friendly place where everyone wants to live. I will hold regular town hall meetings to listen to the residents of our district. I will be counting on you and our neighbors to help resolve issues and concerns in the district when they arise. I will be looking for innovative ways to find resources to fund the programs and initiatives for our district. Like Melanie Stansberry, I will also continue to advocate for a clean, healthy environment for our district. We will work closely with our city council and with the county commissioners to build a better district where collaboration is the key to our success. I have served as an assistant attorney general, a deputy cabinet secretary, and I currently serve as the CEO of KWH Law Center for Social Justice and Change. I am Pamela Herndon, of the people, by the people, and for the people of House District 28.
Thank you, Pamela. And now we'll hear from Idalia Lechuga-Tena.
Thank you all very much. It's an honor to be before you. My name is Idalia Lechuga-Tena. I was the first naturalized woman from Mexico to serve in the New Mexico legislature in the history of our state. I'm a proud immigrant who's fluent in 4 languages, all of which are spoken in House District 28. How do I know that? Because I ran for state senate last year and I won election day vote. I'm an international ambassador for world peace. I'm a small business owner who recognizes the struggle to survive, and I'm definitely a pro-business candidate. I'm also an animal lover, a lover of the arts, and I am an artist and an avid violinist, and I love my community. I was raised here in Albuquerque, and I'm a product of our schools. I'm a proud graduate of the University of New Mexico with degrees in economics, political science, and international politics, with studies in Mexico, Spain, and France, and with published academic research on immigration. My entire adult life has been dedicated to serving my community and the most needy in Albuquerque. I have been on the front lines working for change in Albuquerque for many years. These are the reasons why I'm perfect for the appointment. Number one, I'm a former state representative. I have the experience to hit the ground running day one. Number two, I'm a proud Democrat with voting records for our values. Number three, I represent the demographics of my district. Number four, I'm involved in my community with the Glenwood Hills Neighborhood Association, which is in House District 28, Meals on Wheels, Mana de Albuquerque, Los Puentes Charter School, Hispanic Heritage Committee, and Hispanic Roundtable. Number five, I understand the hard work it takes to be a legislator and to run for office, to campaign, to fundraise, go door to door. But the most important thing, I'm a public servant. This is not going to be about me. It's going to be about the community, about what are the interests of House District 28. And I'm only the instrument that's going to get your agenda passed in the legislature. Today, I humbly ask for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Idalia. Now we'll move on to William Bowen-Trammell.
Thank you for having me today. And I want to say happy Juneteenth before I continue. My name is William Bowen Trammell. It's a long name. I get it. And I've only lived here for about 2 years. I currently now live in House District 28. I believe in this community. I served on Melody Stansberry's campaign doing canvassing, talking to individual voters and talking about their concerns. And I met a man named Bruce, and he talked about all of his concerns. And I've also talked to a family like Martinez, the Martinez family, and talk about their concerns and about how the challenges of their autistic son is in their daily lives. A very common issue I hear in House District 28 is crime and public safety issues. And that is very important to me as well. I believe that we should reform our police departments, state police, Roanoke County, and our city police officers to make them more effective fighting murders, rapists, and other violent criminals. Currently, about 33% of all murders are unsolved. About 50% of all violent crime is unsolved. So I would like to serve on the Crime and Public Safety Committee in the State House. Thank you for your time. How much
Thank you.
time?
Thank you, William. And now we'll hear from Marcy May.
First of all, thanks so much for having this forum for all of us candidates, and thank you to the candidates for sharing your time. I think it's really important that we are over here to let our prospective constituents in District 28, let them know who we are and what we stand for. I am a 1989 UNM graduate from UNM with a Bachelor of Science in Education. I substitute taught and I taught over at Alamosa Elementary on the west side. And I have to say, one of my biggest things that I have that is a passion in my heart is education. After I had my first child, I stayed at home, but yet I still served in the community and have continued to serve not only in the homeschooling community, but even this last semester, we were outreaching to public school parents that needed support for their child's education. Education is really top in, I think, in everybody's thinking at this point, because if our kids are not succeeding, we cannot succeed as a district. We can't succeed as a state. And our children are really devastated with this lockdown. Our New Mexico, we already know we're first in everything bad. And one of the things that was really detrimental is the suicide rate in New Mexico. How we could have let that happen is beyond what most of us can conceive. Yet I believe that we need to work together. I've had many years of experience on swim teams, communicating with sports teams. I've been at the Roundhouse. I've been outside the Roundhouse.
Okay, we've run out of time, Marcy.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I didn't see the numbers on there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And now we'll move on to Matt Powell.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to thank the sponsors of this forum, everyone who is attending, and to my colleagues on here. It takes a lot of bravery to do this, and for that, and you're wanting to help the community, I commend everybody. I have a lot of reasons to be reflective and celebratory this weekend. Today's Juneteenth, and as someone who grew up in the Deep South, it's remembrance of an important and lasting part of our history and recognition of that history. It was something that was long overdue. And tomorrow is Father's Day, and it's my mom's birthday. So I guess I should rephrase that. Tomorrow is my mom's birthday, and it's Father's Day. And I just appreciate them being on here to see what we're doing out here in New Mexico. Because like many of you, I call New Mexico home out of choice. I fell in love with New Mexico on a work project in Roswell. Then I moved to Roswell quickly after, and next thing I knew, all these years, my home's here, my heart is here. I'm a hiker, an entrepreneur, and I'm a business person. As I listened to everybody introduce themselves, I thought about a recent trip I was on for business. I was on this train, all the people looking out the windows, all going somewhere in the same vehicle. In a lot of ways, this district, we're all on the same train, looking out the window at a challenging view. That view is skyrocketing crime, healthcare in the wake of a devastating pandemic, social justice balanced with social cohesion, an education producing substandard results, and an economy that we're trying to find a way to provide our residents with a living wage and responsible economic growth. So where's the train heading? What's our destination? As a community, we got to pick some waypoints, put it in the GPS, and measure our success as a community. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to focus on what we can agree on, and then use that as a goal for this role in the House of Representatives, to raise our community quality of life, and to be a representative for all of you, to work and achieve the goals we set and discuss those issues along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And our last candidate for an opening statement is Bunny Cruz.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Bunny Cruz. I've lived in Albuquerque since 1982 and in this District 28 for 16 years. I'm here to build a New Mexico that's even stronger, to build meaningful initiatives to bridge the gaps in food access, housing, medical care, and a living wage, all root issues in our high crime rates. I'm here to ensure that as we pivot to a green economy, that we do so in a way that we all prosper. In my nonprofit work, I've seen firsthand the needs of the community. I know the structural changes that need to be made. I know the policies, so we can help low and even median income families in our district access food and housing. Last week, I was just giving out food and water downtown to some unsheltered neighbors. The fact that we, the greatest nation on earth, have people living in their own filth and stench is appalling to me. Fixing our homeless situation isn't going to be a single item fix. It'll take a multi-pronged approach. Yes, I would be the first trans woman to serve in this capacity for our state. And yes, it's historic, and that is not lost on me. But let's not get lost on our differences. Let's focus on how we are alike. Transgendered issues are community issues that we all face. Access to food, housing, medical care, and a living wage, and a climate that isn't destroying our planet. I envision a land of enchantment that is prosperous for all her inhabitants, one that guarantees a public education that gets her students prepared to feed themselves and their families in a home that is safe and affordable, one that seeking medical care will not leave anyone in financial devastation, one that is thriving off a green economy that is respectful to the needs and beliefs of everyone, especially our tribal relatives. I'm running to create a better New Mexico, a better future for everyone, and move our state forward. I just want to say happy Juneteenth, happy Father's Day, happy Gay Pride Month. Again, my name is Bunny Cruz, and I am seeking to be your next state representative. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Bunny. And now we're ready to move on to the first question. I do want to inform everyone that each candidate received this question in advance, so they had prior knowledge of this question. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer. The question is, how will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? Again, each have 1.5 minutes, and the first responder is Matt Powell.
Thank you for the question. So there's a saying by a favorite author of mine, Daniel Quinn, and if you haven't read Daniel Quinn, I definitely recommend that you pick up a book of his. And that quote is that it's a waste of time trying to improve a dysfunctional design by changing its working parts. I'm not here to change the working parts because we see the symptoms of those parts all around us. We know something is wrong when we look at the crime that is around us, how the pandemic exposed to problems with our healthcare system, that our education system is one of the most challenged in the country, and how economically we're separated. These are all symptoms of a dysfunctional design and action. So I think we need to analyze part of the question itself. And the first question I would ask is, how usable are party platforms when the news said the other day that we're ranked last in livability as a state? If a party platform says bring jobs, but it's all minimum wage jobs, what good was the party platform? So I think the parties and the platforms might need to be reevaluated. With the results we have, we seem to be stuck in a loop. We're trying to do the same thing over and over, and we wonder why it isn't changing. I've read the proposed budget. There are areas I agree with, there are areas I don't. But the areas that nationally the concepts aren't working, they're obvious. So I've worked with municipalities throughout the country who all have my resume. If you want to know what they did to solve their problems in terms of infrastructure and security, reducing crime, I can tell you. And I want to bring those ideas to the state budget and the laws we consider. I not only understand some of the advances being made in K through 12 education platforms, I know the people who own the software companies that create it, and I want to have them look at our schools. I want to represent our district, not only in the budget negotiations, but for all of you.
Thank you, Matt. The next respondent will be Adalia Lechuga-Tena.
Thank you,
Would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Okay. How will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? You have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. So when it comes to, and I'll go through some of our platforms. So energy and environment. I served, when I was a state representative, I served in the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Committee, and I always voted to protect Mother Earth, supported the use of clean energy, and to train workforce, that will bring more solar and solar jobs and renewable energy jobs. On business and economy, I served in the House Taxation and Revenue Committee. I voted to balance our state budget. And now we're in a very difficult time. We need someone that knows how to hit the ground running, and I could be that person. And also, I am an economist. So our economic recovery is going to be a very, very significant and important time around. Immigration, as you know, I'm an immigrant. I've always protected migrants' rights. I've been in the Cesar Chavez Committee here in Albuquerque. Also, I volunteer in the border. I volunteer in Dilley, Texas, which is the largest jail for women and children. And I prepared mothers and their children for their credible hearing interviews. Women, I'm pro-choice. I've always voted for pro-choice. In regards to our labor, I've always supported our unions and voted for their agenda. Education, I'm a product of our schools and have always supported legislation for our teachers. Civil rights, I'm in favor of legislation. Okay, and my time is up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Idalia. We'll now move on to Michelle Peacock. I'll repeat the question. How will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? You have 1.5 minutes to answer.
Thank you. As a nurse practitioner at the VA Medical Center, I have 2 missions. One is the health and welfare of my diverse population. While many of the veterans I serve live here in Bernalillo County, some veterans, they travel from around our state here to Albuquerque for care. And I always focus on their physical and mental health. My other mission as a nurse practitioner supervisor is to help empower and grow nurse practitioners. And I do that through servant leadership. Simply put, I exist to serve the people. The diverse patient population I serve mirrors the diversity of House District 28, and I plan to continue to do what I have been doing, meeting with our community, listening to everyone's concerns, and focusing on how to serve and advocate for House District 28 and New Mexicans. As CLN kids, I worked with families who had to get secure housing and help provide for their families and raise their children in a safe environment. In our community, we want those things too. A safe community to raise our families. I want to continue to improve mental health, community resources, and the healthcare for all of our families and community members so we can all continue to grow and thrive. That is what I will do for you and for our community.
Thank you, Michelle. Now we'll move on to William Bone Trammell. The question is, how will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? You have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. I will be honest, I don't have much experience. and I'm not going to lie to you. However, what I am going to say, I have many unique ideas. And I've spoken to many households and their struggles in House District 28, but not only in House District 28, but across New Mexico as a whole. I grew up in poverty when I was a child. It sucked. It sucked. And I know poverty is a serious issue, especially for our children. And it's very difficult to answer. And I have several ideas on how to reduce or to eliminate child poverty in New Mexico, like giving money directly to families and to single mothers and to single fathers to help them pay for diapers, food, school supplies, and to be able to help with our child poverty issues. And that's not also mentioning of the autistic families. I mentioned earlier, I talked to a family named the Martinez family and how they have an autistic son, and they talked about all the challenges that they had. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, William. Now we'll move on to Bunny Cruz. How will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? You have 1.5 minutes. You need to unmute.
I think after a year and a half on Zoom, I would be better at that. Having been bullied from kindergarten until my senior year, being homeless myself, overcoming addiction, on top of being a Latinx trans woman, I was not living in the margins, but had fell through all the cracks of a system that was not built for people like me. I didn't even have boots to pull myself up by those proverbial bootstraps. But through sheer willpower and determination, I turned to volunteering. I chose to be in service of others. I have gone to bed hungry and woke up to no food to eat. I have been in recovery for 15 years. I have been to rock bottom. So I know that I am relatable and I know what services are needed for food access, rehab, housing, anti-bullying in schools, because I've lived it and I beat it. I want to take that priceless knowledge of lived experience to Santa Fe for my family and my neighbors in House District 28. What makes New Mexico such a great state is her people, specifically the diversity of her people. That diversity must be reflected in our elected officials. An openly transgendered person has never been in office, and it's time we have that seat at the table. For those here today that have never met a trans person, this is what a trans person looks like. I'm a daughter of a Vietnam vet. I'm an aunt, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. I'm an animal lover and I love the outdoors. I am your neighbor right here in the best House District, State 28. It's House District 28. Thank you.
Thank you, Bunny. Next, we'll hear from Pamela Herndon. Whoops, I just lost the question. Hold on. How will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? I have 1.5 minutes.
My experience in the past includes talking to the people in the district and learning about what is of importance to them. They want a reduction in crime, assurances that no person is evicted from their home during a pandemic, and conservation protocols are in place to protect our community. I've been working to ensure there is proper lighting and streetlights throughout our neighborhood. My research has shown that crime is reduced when an adequate lighting is present in neighborhoods. In my capacity as a CEO of a nonprofit law center, I have connected with residents in our district to help ensure they have the financial resources to prevent eviction once the moratorium is lifted. I work to ensure that we have a clean, sustainable environment for promoting programs that encourage families to make sure that they spend at least one day a month when they do not leave a carbon footprint. All of these goals are the goals of our party, and they are the goals of our district. And that is what I've been doing in the past. And thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. And now we'll hear from Tom Stahl. How will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. During my campaign last year for House District 28, I canvassed every precinct in that district. That opportunity allowed me to engage and speak with many of the fine residents of the district. I witnessed the broad diversity of our district, socioeconomically, culturally, and the wide range of ideas and concerns. That experience gave me an accurate perspective of District 28 constituents, which translates into an ability to represent them well at the Roundhouse. While I am a registered Republican, once sworn into office, it is my obligation to represent all constituents of District 28, regardless of party. I am more interested in the concerns and priorities of District 28 constituents than I am in my party's platform. However, I think the state Republican Party platform is in sync with the people on the main issues such as gaining control of our out of control crime rate, opening up the schools, improving our schools from 50th place in the nation, and reviving our economy from the devastation over the last year by the COVID lockdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Lastly, we'll hear from Marcy May. How will your experience in the past help you as you work to achieve the goals of your party's platform? 1.5 minutes.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to talk. And I have to say that after this whole past year, I have been able to reach out and communicate with people who are very, very different from myself. I believe that my ability to communicate and open the table to people who are different from me, that we are able to find solutions. And that's really what we need. A lot of times people don't need a handout. They just need to say, keep going. They need to be empowered. They need to know that they have the right to run their businesses as they desire. And we should never, the government should not be telling people what they should and shouldn't do. That's really their choice. But I think empowering people and getting behind them, and not me coming with my agenda or my group or whatever, but going out to the constituents and talking with them. What do you need in order to succeed with your business? What do you need to help your child succeed in their education? The table needs to be open to all people. And I'm not coming in with an agenda saying, I need to get this done or that done. We are in disaster recovery mode, and we need to be able to be service to the people. That's my biggest attribute, is I'm a good listener, and I have networking capabilities to meet out and reach out and grab those people that have those skills that I don't.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to question 2. This question was not given in advance to the candidates, but it's a follow-up to the first question. What will you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session? And our first respondent will be Pamela Herndon.
In the next 7 months, I will continue to talk to the people who live in District 28. I will continue to learn the items that are of interest to them and learn how together we can make sure that they are resolved in the best interest of the community. I will hold town halls to meet and talk with people, to understand where they are. I will meet and understand where our schools are, where our school districts are, where people are with respect to their homes, where people are with respect to how they are feeling every single day. Is there a need for mental health for their children? Because we've just come out of a pandemic that has been incredibly difficult for families throughout our entire country. I will make sure that I am of the people, for the people, and by the people of House District 28. I will be the strong voice of House District 28 and listen to them very carefully as we carry out the items together with Bernalillo County and the city of Albuquerque to make sure that we are successful. And thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. The next respondent will be Michelle Peacock. And the question again is, what will you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
Thank you. The next 7 months are going to be an extension of what I'm currently doing. The first thing is putting in that call time, asking people, what are their questions? What are their ideas? What are their priorities? What do I need to do to work for them? I'm going to continue to meet with our neighborhood associations and carry my little blue book that I carry everywhere and write down their notes and ideas and put those into action. I have the experience of door knocking. I've done that before. I've done that for the Respect Albuquerque Women campaign and for my fellow partisan, nonpartisan, and social campaigns. And I'll be doing that now that we're in a safe environment and our families are being vaccinated and we're trusting science. We need to knock on the doors and build back that community relationship where we talk to each other person to person in a safe environment. It's my experience that we just have to work together to make it happen. And I am a registered Democrat, but I'm highly aware that my job is representing all of the constituents, pardon me, in the heart of this district, and that success of being their legislator is working and campaigning for them and doing the experience that they need. So if appointed, I will bring that determination and work ethic to the people in House District 28.
Thank you, Michelle. And now we'll hear from Bunny Cruz. What will you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
Now that we're at the tail end of the pandemic, we've been led by a great leader in our governor and the Secretary of the Department of Health. So we're vaccinated, we're on the other side of this pandemic, and I'm going to be knocking on doors, meeting my neighbors, meeting my constituents. I'm going to continue being fundraising for schools and see what they need. So when I get to Santa Fe as your next state representative, I know what schools need. I know what they need to succeed. I'm going to just keep knocking on doors. I've already have a built campaign team. I have a hired campaign manager, a hired treasurer. We have a list of volunteers, an army of volunteers ready to go. So I'm just going to hit the ground running and get the support of my constituents, my neighbors, my family, and just keep going. I've never been in politics before, but don't let that fool you. I have been serving the community since the early 90s. So I look forward to your support. If you have any questions, you can go to peopleforbunnycruz.com or find me on Facebook for People for Bunny Cruz. Thank you for your time, and to the other candidates, I look forward to this experience with you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, Bunny. And now we'll hear from Tom Stull. What would you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
I would concentrate on 3 different areas. First, I would engage with the law enforcement communities, both local, county, and the state, to make sure that we have fully funded what is necessary to fight this crime pandemic that we have, and make sure that all 3 of those communities are able, 1, to communicate with each other and to coordinate with each other in order to fight the drug trafficking, and also what we have is the human trafficking issues in the state, and also to look at the other areas necessary so that we can get a handle on what's going on. And I would fight for more dollars for law enforcement throughout the state. 2, I would engage with the schools, especially within District 28, which is my responsibility, to look at what is necessary to safely get our children back into the schools, and what resources can we provide them so that we do get our kids back into school, because it's not just about academics, it's about their mental health also. And we need to support small businesses in their community to make sure they get on a profitable footing as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And now we'll move on to William Bowen Trammell. What would you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
Thank you. For the next 7 months, I would work with our community, doing town halls, talking to people who live in House 28 and listening to their concerns with empathy. I would work with the governor of Michelle Lujan Grisham for the next for this session for 30 days and get bills passed related to crime and safety issues. The sad truth is we do have a crime issue here in Albuquerque, and not just in Albuquerque, but in New Mexico as a whole. And we should implement reforms to our police departments where they have de-escalation training and where we have mental health workers who can respond to people who are in distress with mental health. And I believe crime and safety issues are very important. I've talked to many voters here in House District 28, and crime and safety tends to be their top priorities. And I believe we should also decriminalize all drugs. Instead of tossing people into jails, we should say, hey, here's a civil infraction, or you can go to rehab, and get them to rehab. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, William. Matt Powell, what will you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
7 months is gonna come up quick, right? So to prepare for the upcoming session, I would do like everyone else said, is lead town halls to meet with constituents, town halls that are focused on different issues such as crime, education, healthcare, talk to the business community as well as the labor community, and then take the results of those town halls and come up with goals that we can all work towards and agree with, and then develop bills and partnerships around these challenges and see if we can make sure that the role that I'm running for to be a representative, that we have goals that we can use within the system that it is in order to make the community better in District 28. And secondly, I want to make sure that I'm a good representative. So I want to meet with other representatives and make sure that I know the role. Build partnerships to understand how to work within the system to gain the most for our constituents and make District 28 the envy of the rest of the state and eventually the nation.
Thank you, Matt. Marcy May, what will you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
Well, one of the things I think that is important is getting all of the representatives, the school board member, our senator, our Bernalillo County Commissioner. Let's get us together with our people in our district. A lot of times we think that we're all just on our own little, we're not connected, but we are. And these guys have already been in this mix, and they're really facing the top, the top issues, and they've already been in communication with our actual constituents. And so I want to jump on that bandwagon and let's bring it into a community communication. And that's what we're seeing across the board, communication. We've really had that detriment of not having that. So we got some catch up to do. The crime situation, I was out of town. Someone actually tried to break into my door. So I understand I'm having to deal with crime in my own neighborhood on my own street. We need to reach out to our police officers, make sure they're doing, getting the support they need, and make sure they're doing their job. There's many men and women on that force, and they need to know that we support them, but then our community needs to know that they support us, and that will go a long way.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you.
Lastly, we'll hear from Idalia Lechuga-Tena. What will you do in the next 7 months to prepare for the 2022 legislative session?
Thank you. So I've already been preparing. One of the things I really would love to hear from the community is, what are your priorities? Because like I said, I'm only an instrument to represent your agenda. I would focus on having coffees every month, and I'm going to call them Coffees with Idalia. And we're going to meet with city council, with our city councilors, our commission, our APS school board in the area. We're going to analyze what the priorities are, That way we can be prepared. We could start preparing legislation for interim committee, which is happening right now. Another thing I would do is I would ask the community, what are our priorities, so that we can submit our capital outlay projects and start thinking about what capital outlay projects we want to fund this year or next year in this district. But now is the time to start planning, right? We need to find a fiscal agent who's going to sponsor us for, you know, rebuilding and doing the Montgomery, right? Because that's what the neighborhood associations here want to do. Montgomery and Tramway, right? Beautifying that area. And of course, I'm going to walk my district. I'm going to send surveys. I'm going to canvass. I'm going to have town halls. I'm going to continue to meet with my neighborhood associations, continue to attend the interim committees, and just know, you know, this year I got $360,000 on capital outlay for 2 of my boards, Mana de Albuquerque and Meals on Wheels, to alleviate hunger. Thank you.
Thank you, Idalia. And now we'll move on to your closing statements. And each candidate will have 2 minutes for these. And we'll start with William Boehm Trammell.
Thank you. Well, we're at the end. And all these candidates, they have great ideas, great messages, and it's glad to hear from all of them. And I would like to serve as your House member for House District 28. However, I believe all these other candidates that are here today are very well qualified to do this job. I would only encourage this. I have not mentioned this so far. I believe this is the #1 issue that's facing our nation as a whole, and that has to do with child marriage. Approximately 200,000 cases where a child would marry an adult as young as 13 up to 17 years old between the years of 2000 to 2015. And unfortunately, the state of New Mexico allows a child to marry as young as 16, in some circumstances even younger, to an adult. And this has detrimental effects on the children. They have experienced trauma, a large amount of trauma, and about 70 to 80% of these marriages end in divorce. So I ask any of these candidates, you don't have to answer this question now, to hopefully support the idea that we should repeal New Mexico's child marriage law and only say that both parties have to be 18 years or older in order to marry. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, William. And now Marcy May, a closing statement from you.
Thank you so much. My strength is communication with people. I have been walking the parameters and walking inside of my district for over 20 years, almost 20 years. And that's without having the ambitions to become a candidate. I do this as a natural part of who I am. I stand on behalf of children to advocate for their rights, for their safety, for their education. I stand on behalf of businesses to be protected. I stand on the behalf of those who don't have basic needs, the homeless, those who have gone through trafficking. I've stood with these people, I've served them. I would just be continuing my service to the community within District 28 and working with the other people in my district, the other representatives, city council, to continue to do the job that I'm doing. And that's without even having the ambitions to run for an office. I'm Marcy May. Please go to Marcy for New Mexico on Facebook and or send an email to marcy4nm@gmail.com and I'll give you some more information. Let's get the conversation going.
Okay, I think Marcy is finished. We'll move on to Pamela Herndon for your closing remarks.
I am Pamela Herndon. I am an attorney and have
Did I
dedicated
cut out?
many. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry.
just a minute, Pamela. I'm sorry, Marcy, had you finished? You did freeze there for a bit.
Okay, so I'm not sure where I finished off, but, and thank you for allowing me to finish. I have been doing this without the ambitions of being a candidate. I would like to be able to continue that to serve my community. Please contact me at Marcy for New Mexico on Facebook. Send me an email at marcy4nm@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Let's go New Mexico.
Thank you, Marcy. Sorry to interrupt, Pamela. So your turn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Pamela Herndon. I am an attorney, and I have dedicated many years of my practice to helping to make sure that individuals and families have access to the resources they need to thrive. In a state that has not put a reasonable cap on interest rates, I will make sure that people have access to financial resources without a life entrenched in a cycle of debt. I have used my skills and background to advocate for fair pay at the federal and state levels. I'm working to make sure that every person in our district has access to safe, clean, affordable housing. Having lower wages does not mean having to settle for a lower standard of living. I will work to help businesses and individuals work together so that we all thrive. I am working to make sure that enough resources are allocated to public education to help ensure that every student graduates from high school with 100% reading and math competencies. If you want to make sure that you can take a walk in the moonlight at night, I'm going to make sure that it's safe for you to do so. Most importantly, I will be the voice in Santa Fe to help ensure that there are jobs, and more jobs for the people in our district. I am Pamela Herndon, of the people, for the people, and by the people of District 28. I will be your strong voice in Santa Fe. I'm asking you to call and email every single Bernalillo County Commissioner and say, appoint Pamela Herndon. And thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Bunny Cruz, give us your closing statement, please.
Thank you again for having me, and thank you, Donna, for moderating this today. I appreciate that. Just to let you know, I've been endorsed by Senators Candelaria, Duhigg, Jaramillo, Hamblin, Representative Brittany Barreras, Roger Montoya, Christina Ortiz, multiple community activists and educators. I'm honored to be endorsed by Planned Parenthood. I am pro-choice. I pledge to uphold safe, legal abortion access, funding for all the healthcare needs that Planned Parenthood meets to our community, and continue my advocacy for civil rights for LGBT people and all New Mexicans. Being endorsed by Equality New Mexico has been a big accomplishment of mine. I mentioned I have a strong campaign team. I've collected over $6,500 in grassroots donations over the last few weeks. I already have a strong campaign team, a structure. I am viable and I'm ready to hit the ground running. And once again, my name is Bunny Cruz. I'd be honored to have your support to be your state representative from New Mexico House District 28. Thank y'all, and y'all be safe tonight.
Thank you, Bunny. We're running a little behind. We still have 4 candidates to hear their closing statements. And after that, County Commissioner Charlene Piscotti will be joining us to give us information about how to express our opinions to the County Commission. So I hope you can stay with us for a few more minutes. And next we move on to Idalia Lechuga-Tena for her closing statement.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you all for being here today. It's an honor. You know, I bring experience, and I think experience matters. So I'm a candidate of experience, of progress, of change, and diversity. I have a proven record of working in a bipartisan manner, and I will continue to do that. I think my experience as a former state representative and knowing the legislative process is very beneficial for this appointment. You know, I served in the House Taxation and Revenue Committee as a state legislator. In balancing the budget, our state budget is critical during this time of our economic recovery. Not only is my legislative experience an asset, but knowing the needs of my community because I live here and I'm very involved in the community, represent its demographics. But also I understand the hard work it takes to run for public office, to campaign, to fundraise, to door knock, and to face discrimination for being young, for being an immigrant, and for being a woman of color. It's hard, but I've never given up. If appointed, I will work very hard to retain the seat on behalf of our party and keep this House seat blue. I also want to really reiterate, I'm a public servant. This is not about me. This is not about what my agenda is. It's about what the community wants. What are the interests of House District 28? Like I said, I'm only the instrument to represent your agenda in the legislature. I want always an open door with the community, with our city councilors, with our county commissioners. Know that you will have that with me, because when we work together, we create a better community and a better New Mexico. I've put my contact information on the chat. Email me, text me, call me. I put my cell phone out there because I'm trying to represent you. And I always want transparency and an open door at all times. I have phenomenal endorsements. Albuquerque City Council President, APS School Board Member Candelaria Patterson, Ambassador Romero. You could see him on Facebook. Thank you so much for your time. I humbly ask for your support. Vamos a luchar por cambio. Let's work for change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Idalia. Now, Michelle Peacock, we'll hear your closing statement.
Thank you so much. House District 28 is my home. It is where I was raised and where I returned after serving our country, and where I continue to raise my family and serve as a healthcare provider and an advocate. I'm very accustomed to working in demanding environments while still accomplishing the mission and making sure that everyone grows and thrives. If appointed to the legislature, my top priorities would be healthcare, education, and our environment. For the legislature, I think it's critical we continue to elect more healthcare professionals who are community-based. I hope that you will support me to continue improving the health and resources of our community. I am a veteran, a nurse practitioner, I'm an advocate, and I have the knowledge and experience to work for everyone in our district. You know, when I applied to UNM, there was this process of an interview, and during that interview, they said, you know, this coursework is hard. Can you keep up? I promised my professors, Carolyn Montoya and Joanne Bartram, that I could. The hard work of listening to others, reading and writing and determining a patient's diagnosis and care plan, that is hard. But deployments are harder. Dismounted patrols through the streets of Ghazni, followed by a mass casualty event and long hours in the emergency department, those are hard. And while working for you won't be easy, I promise you that it is worth every moment to serve. I would be honored to receive this appointment, and I promise to work on the priorities that you determine. And I know that if we partner together, we together can make great things happen. I hope to earn your support for this appointment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Matt Powell, your closing statement, please.
First off, thank you for inviting me and having me here. It was great to listen to everybody. I really enjoyed learning about everybody, and hey, I hope we can make for a better community working together. I'm here to be a representative and to listen to all sides and achieve goals that we set in the role of a district representative for 28. I'm here to focus on quality of life, and that means working with the community to create a safer place to live, learning the lessons of the pandemic and applying them in effective ways in our healthcare system, helping develop and achieve educational goals, and lastly, working to help create an environment where companies bring secure careers for residents and not just jobs. Those are goals we can all agree on, goals that a legislator can effectively use the system to accomplish. And I'll be a fast learner on that. So I've seen some questions in the chat. I hope you'll email me your questions. I look forward to learning more about you and your concerns and how this role can address them. Thanks everybody, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Matt. And lastly, we'll hear from Tom Stull with his closing statement.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard each candidate define their positions and tell you why they should be your next representative. I respect each of their opinions. However, I believe I'm the most experienced and qualified individual to fill the position. I have decades of experience working with diverse teams in the military, as well as multinational coalitions to accomplish a common goal. My experience as a corporate executive demanded my proficiency in establishing an annual business plan and then meeting or exceeding those goals. That all translates into working well with those in the legislature to cooperate and coordinate complex issues and make New Mexico a better place to live, work, and play. To my knowledge, I am the only candidate who has personally walked every precinct in District 28. That gives me the advantage of intimately knowing the entire district. Constituents of District 28, I have listened and I have heard you. Let's handle the crime. Let's open our schools. Let's get out and get our people back to work. I also have an active CFAS financial account with the Secretary of State and an established campaign treasurer. I'm ready to assume my duties as representative immediately upon being sworn in, and on day one, serve you. This is not about me. I want to once again emphasize that this is about the service to you, the constituents of District 28. I am ready to work with the fine people of District 28 to make our home a better place. It would be an honor to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you to all of you candidates or applicants, not sure what the right term is here, but we as constituents know that it's a lot of work that you're volunteering to step up and do to serve us in HD 28. So we appreciate the effort that you're putting into this. Only one person can be appointed right now. Commissioner Charlene Piscotti is going to tell us how that works and how we as attendees at this meeting can communicate our support of a candidate to the commission. So Commissioner Piscotti, it's yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Donna, Judith, and Margaret for putting this together. This is so important. And thank you to all the candidates for stepping up. And thank you especially to the people we can't see on here, the constituents, the attendees who are out there, especially the residents of House District 28. You have a great district. Your district is fully in my county commission district. So I want to see you have a really good representative. And so there's a few things I know they've been coming up in the chat. You can feel free to send an email to commission@burnco.gov. That goes to all the commissioners. And if you're a resident of House District 28 and you send an email, please make sure to note that. And if you feel comfortable, add your address in there. The other thing I would recommend is to go to our Bernalillo County website, burnco.gov, and look across the top, the blue banner where it says agendas. Click on that and then look down the side and you'll see another button to click for the agenda. You can find the meeting agenda and the agenda packet that has some more information about HD 28 in there. And also, if you read through that, read through the agenda, it'll give you a lot of information about how to watch the meeting. There's many ways to watch the meeting by Zoom, on our YouTube channel, on GovTV. So do check that out on our website. Also, when you go to that page, that board and commission meetings page, when you look down the left-hand menu, it talks about how to sign up to speak at a meeting. And so we are in the process of signing speakers up. And because there are limitations by Zoom, we may have to limit the number of speakers. We haven't decided that yet. We'll know, by 3 o'clock on Tuesday. That's the deadline to sign up to speak in support of a candidate. We will know how many people are signed up and if we need to limit it. So we'll let you know, but people will have 60 seconds to speak. And then candidates, of course, we hope that you will all be at the meeting and you will be able to tell us why you think you're the best candidate. And it's an interesting meeting. I have had the honor of doing 3 appointments so far as a commissioner, and we seem to get 1 a year. So I don't really, we always kind of struggle with what's the format of this meeting because we don't have them that frequently, but it's a great meeting to watch. It is democracy in action, and we really, really need to hear from the residents of House District 28. I thank you all for being so engaged. Like I said, House District 28 is one of the most engaged districts, and I just love you guys so much. And so I will look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday night, Tuesday at 4 p.m. We're scheduled from 4 to 6. So thank you so much. Have a good rest of your weekend. Happy Juneteenth and happy Father's Day. Stay cool out there. If you ever need to contact me, it's just district5@burnco.gov, the word district, the number 5, burnco.gov. Thank you so much. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Commissioner Piscotti. Thank you again to the candidates, applicants, and especially to the attendees. For those who live in House District 28, be sure to contact the County Commission with your opinion about who should represent us for House District 28. I think with that, we have more than filled our time. Thank you for staying a little bit over. Thank you for your patience, and onward and upward. Thank you.